10 Best Hiking Tips for Beginners. Are you the first time hiking? To get you on the trail and ready to start hiking, here are our tips for beginner hikers. 1. Start with a short and easy hike first. If you've only ever done some short, local walks before and want to hike, make sure you don't overdo it the first time. Don't instantly commit to trekking to Everest Base Camp if you've never walked more than a mile before. Instead, choose a short, easy hike that's not too remote before attempting something longer and more difficult. Look for a hiking trail that will push your limits a little, but isn't too long. Something under 5 kilometers, 3 miles, is perfect, as you'll be able to hammer it out in the morning or afternoon. By starting off with a short hike, you will be able to determine if this type of outdoor activity is for you. You'll know how much your body can handle, especially your knees and ankles, and your skill level. 2. Pick a trail that is appropriate for the time of year and weather conditions. Before setting off on a hike, one of the first things we do is check the weather for the day. That way we know how to best prepare, what to bring, and maybe change plans if things aren't looking fantastic. If you're heading into the mountains and there's rain in the forecast, consider staying at a lower altitude instead so you don't get caught by unexpected snow, for example. But what about time of year considerations? If you're planning a hike in the spring, just because there's no snow on the ground in town, don't think it's going to be all melted up at the top of a peak. Some hiking trails take months to open up after a long winter or wet season, so if unsure, always ask a park ranger or local. 3. Get yourself some hiking socks. When it comes to hiking in nature, you have to make sure you have the right hiking gear, like a hat, shoes, and weather-resistant clothing. Not a lot of people think about their socks though. Most new hikers, and even some experienced ones, think that they can get away with any old socks they pull out of their drawer. Sure, you can do that, but you may end up regretting it. Our next hiking tip for beginners is to invest in some great hiking socks and even some sock liners. When you are hiking, your feet sweat and swell, so you need socks that can handle getting a bit wet or sweaty, and still allow your feet to breathe without chafing. Good quality hiking socks aren't cheap, but they are worth their weight in gold. Trust us, your feet will thank you. 4. Make sure you have the right walking shoes or hiking boots, and wear them in. This is a must. If you're planning on walking around in nature, make sure you get a pair of decent walking shoes or hiking boots to protect your feet and keep them dry and comfortable. Try the shoes on in the store and walk around. Jump side to side. Kick your feet hard on the ground to push your toes to the front. You really need to make sure they fit properly, aren't too thin or narrow, and don't cramp your toes, or give too much movement. 5. Get yourself some trekking poles. For the longest time, we hiked without trekking poles. We just assumed they were for people with bad knees or people who were unsteady on their feet. A few years ago we trekked the 8-day O circuit in Patagonia, and each bought a pair of trekking poles because our friends found some for $15. Within an hour of being on the trail, our lives had changed, and now we don't do any long-distance trek without them. Hiking poles are used to help ease the strain on your knees, especially when walking down steep hills, which can be a killer. But they also help going uphill by giving you momentum and power. 6. Dress in the right hiking clothes. Knowing what the weather is doing is one thing, but dressing for it properly is an entirely different, and more important, matter. When you're out hiking, be sure to dress appropriately for the weather conditions, and also wear clothing that is comfortable and breathable. Make sure your clothing is quick dry so that your body will stay dry when you sweat or if it rains. Avoid jeans. I see people hiking in jeans sometimes and it does not look comfortable at all. Avoid cotton clothing as this type of material is not breathable. 7. It's good to take breaks. Now when I am talking about breaks, I am talking about stopping for a period of time and taking the backpack off. Have a drink of water or have a snack for more energy. It is important to keep your body fueled, but do not take too many breaks. When we are hiking with a backpack, with camera gear, water, and so on, we would maybe stop every 1 to 1.5 hours for a little rest and to take the backpack off. Of course, along the way you are going to be stopping off at lookouts, but do not stop for too long. This is because your muscles will cool down. You have just warmed them up, and stopping for a long period too often could cause your muscles injury. 8. Bring a first aid kit for hiking. You don't need a big first aid kit, but pack a little one with items you might need. You don't know when you may need to use it. Someone might sprain their ankle or have a fall, get bitten by a spider, or maybe you might come across someone having an episode. I also pack a torch just in case we are out there later than expected and have light to guide us back and an emergency blanket. This doesn't take up much room but could save my life if ever needed. 9. Always have sun and bug protection. The sun can be harsh, so make sure you are protected from it. Having a nice wide brim hat when hiking will keep the sun off your face. Apply sunscreen every couple of hours to protect your skin and wear polarized sunglasses to protect your eyes. Wearing longer clothing that is UPF protected will help with the sun's rays. Don't forget chapstick for your lips. They can burn too. If you are hiking in an area with a lot of insects or mosquitoes, they are the worst. Then don't forget some insect repellent. I also have a small spray bottle of natural repellent I keep with the sunscreen, and I store both in a resealable bag in case they ever leak. 10. Let someone know where you are going. This is the first thing anyone should do when they want to go for a hike. Always let someone know what hike you are going on or what area you will be in. Whether you are by yourself or with a friend, letting someone know will help out in case you run into trouble. Be a smart hiker from the get-go. We hope all these hiking tips help you feel prepared and confident for your first hikes. Hiking is addictive. Get out there and start hiking.